illegally bringing people into Britain.
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Well, good evening. It's 9 p.m. I'm Alex Armstrong. Tonight.
Yes, I was pushed on the ground by the pro-Pally mob, and then the police escort dragged me out of there and manhandled me.
Yeah, we've got some bombshell footage to show you because the pro-Gaza hate marches are happening again in our capital. It seems that they don't want peace in the Middle East, doesn't it? Well, I've been in the thick of it to bring you the real story. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. And
look at what's happening to the country, and as a councillor in East Riding, I can see what's happening. I get a lot of concerns from residents. Every time a hotel is going up for sale, everyone's got this anxiety.
I've been a busy boy this week because I also went to the Pink Ladies protest as they counter-protested Tower Hamlets Council for trying to prescribe some groups as far right. Also,
£22 billion black hole.
The £22 billion black hole of £22 billion.
The most unpopular Prime Minister and the most unpopular Chancellor in history are trying to blame the economic mess they've made on, well, you've guessed it, Nigel Farage. Plus, Harry and Meghan are named Humanitarians of the Year. Yet another glitzy award for the Prince and Princess of Montecito. But did they really deserve it?
True unrest, and it's scary. It's scary as a local resident, somebody who's born and bred here.
And the most insane story of the week, a councillor in Scotland has been reported to the police for saying she was born and bred in Falkirk. You can't make it up, can you, honestly? Well, tonight I'm joined by journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, former Scotland Yard detective Peter Blexley and former Labour advisor Paul Richards. What's happening here? It gets so much better. Your Saturday night is about to get started. Before that, let's get your news with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you, Alex. Good evening to you. It's 9:02 here in the GB newsroom. Huge crowds have gathered in Tel Aviv ahead of the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas, where the mention of Donald Trump's name drew loud cheers of gratitude. They were being addressed by two of the architects of the ceasefire deal, Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law Jared Kushner, along with Kushner's wife Ivanka Trump. However, there were loud boos at the mention of the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu's name, who families hold responsible for the ongoing captivity of their loved ones. The ceasefire began yesterday morning, so Hamas now has just over 36 hours to release all hostages, after which Israel will free thousands of Palestinian prisoners. Witkoff says the US president is owed deep gratitude and that he has dreamed of this night.
We stand here tonight, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and people from every corner of the world, united by one shared prayer for peace. Tonight, we celebrate something extraordinary. A moment that many thought was impossible. Yet here we stand, living proof that when courage meets conviction, miracles can happen.
Gaza Civil Defense Agency says more than 500,000 people have now returned to Gaza City since the ceasefire took effect. Rescue teams have begun recovering bodies from ruined buildings. Authorities say almost 10,000 people remain unaccounted for. Meanwhile, Hamas has recalled around 7,000 fighters to reassert control over the territory amid fears of internal violence between armed gangs. A small number of people have been arrested at a pro-Palestinian demonstration in London held to mark 2 years of the war in Gaza. Police say it followed a scuffle between several individuals after a group of counter-protesters from Stop the Hate breached conditions set in place to keep the demonstrations apart. Tens of thousands of people joined the march to Parliament Square earlier, and protesters insist that the marches will continue until a free Palestine is achieved. Former Lost Prophet singer Ian Watkins has died after being attacked in prison. The paedophile rock star was serving a 29-year sentence for child sex offences. He was attacked with a knife at Wakefield Prison in Yorkshire this morning. Emergency services were called, but Watkins was pronounced dead at the scene. Prince Harry's written to the Home Secretary in a renewed bid to have his royal security reinstated. The Duke of Sussex has asked Shabana Mahmood to carry out a full risk assessment. Well, Prince Harry's letter has urged the committee to abide by its own rules, which requires annual reviews for royals and VIPs. Earlier this year, he lost a High Court appeal to regain automatic taxpayer-funded police protection, and his security is decided currently on a case-by-case basis. No survivors are expected to be found after a major explosion at a munitions factory in the US state of Tennessee. 18 people remain unaccounted for. It is still unclear what caused yesterday's explosion at the plant, which is southwest of Nashville. The facility specialises in the development and manufacture of explosives. And the breaking news that just came into us a little earlier tonight, the celebrated actress Diane Keaton has died at the age of 79. Keaton, who rose to fame in the 1970s, winning an Oscar for Annie Hall in one of her many collaborations with Woody Allen. She also starred in The Godfather, Baby Boom, First Wives Club and Something's Gotta Give. The actor hadn't been in the public eye for some months, but no illness had been announced. She is survived by her 2 children. There's your headlines. That's it for the moment. Now it's back to Alex.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Well, Nigel Farage is to blame for our economic crisis. That's the absolutely mad suggestion now being cooked up by the most unpopular Prime Minister alongside the most unpopular Chancellor in our history. Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves are desperately searching for the next boogeyman after butchering our economy with their Fabian socialist ideology. It seems the old blame the Tories trick has run completely dry with the public, so now they're desperately pivoting. Now, with a second budget looming, they want to pin Britain's pain on Brexit and on Nigel Farage. They're going to tell you that if we'd stayed in the EU, Britain would be £120 billion richer by 2035. It is fantasy economics, a huge distraction to cover up Labour's tremendous waste. So let's look at the bill they've already dumped on you since they took office, shall we? £9.4 billion to appease their union paymasters with public sector wage hikes, £21.9 billion in departmental overspends, £20 billion on scientifically untested carbon capture schemes, £4.5 billion this year alone on the illegal migration crisis, hotels, benefits, handouts, and that's projected to balloon to £15.3 billion over the next decade. £7 billion on the Afghan resettlement scheme, botched further by a data breach, of course. £6.2 billion lost on Quango overruns and those unelected bureaucrats wasting your money. £35 billion handed over in the Chagos Island surrender deal, money Mauritius is using to give its people, well, 95% of them, 100% income tax. And for good measure, £500,000 splurged by David Lammy's Foreign Office on fine dining. Just those items alone amount to between £108 billion and £114 billion of waste since Labour took office. And yet, they've got the audacity to tell you it's Brexit that's bankrupted Britain. 1 minute, they're telling us how we have the fastest growing economy in the G7. Then they're telling us we'd be better off with the stragglers in the EU. It doesn't make sense, does it? It never does. And how dare they? How dare these charlatans blame Nigel Farage, a man who's never been in government, for the mess that they've made? It's pathetic, shameless, and frankly, it insults you, the public's intelligence. And here's the irony. While Starmer and Reeves are pointing the finger, the electorate is flocking to the very man they're trying to demonise. Reform support has tripled since the election. Millions no longer see them as a protest vote anymore, do they? But as the only party that's telling the truth and will get on with the hard job. This is distraction politics at its most desperate. Only a year in to office, might I add. A government with a net approval of -67, flogging higher taxes while calling Farage a snake oil merchant. Well, the real snake oil is Labour's empty promises. And soon enough, the British people will give them the reckoning they well deserved for driving this country even further into the ground. Well, let's get the thoughts of my fantastic panel, journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, former Scotland Yard detective Peter Blexley, and former Labour advisor Paul Richards. I'll get your thoughts in just a second. I want to break some news. I want to break some news to you, because we will come back to this topic, because it's very important the British public hear what you have to say. But Prince Andrew, has been revealed this evening, told his pal Jeffrey Epstein, "We are in this together," in an email 3 months after the date he said he'd severed contact with Epstein. The Duke messaged on February the 28th, 2011, a day after the infamous photo emerged of him with Virginia Goff. Andrew appeared to have no plans to end the friendship, urging Epstein to keep in close touch. Disturbingly, he told the Predator, "We'll play some more soon." More on this later in this show, of course. Linda, I want to go back to our topic of the evening, which is, of course, about the leaked plans to blame Nigel Farage and Brexit for the economic crisis we're in. I think it stinks of desperation.
Well, not only that, but I think now that the public, i.e. the voter, are completely sick of politicians blaming each other, of the two main parties, and in fact, I think that the Greens have done this as well. You can't keep blaming other politicians for the mess you're in. But the worst one at this is Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves. The fact of the matter is that no one wants to know what went on in the past. What they want to know is what is being done to solve really profound and serious economic problems in the future. Now, the fact of the matter, we have got to deal with a massive and growing older population, with a negative birth rate, with a smaller and smaller section of the population working so that they can pay taxes into the exchequer. And then we've got immigration on top of that. That's a demographic time bomb and a population bomb, and no one seems to be addressing it at all. We need some serious policies laid out in front of us.
Yeah, Peter, it's really frustrating when the public hear these sorts of silliness coming out of Downing Street, the people running the country who are going to point the finger at Nigel Farage, are going to point the finger at Brexit. Let's bear in mind, Nigel Farage was never in office once. He's not been able to have his touch on the coffers of the country. You know, it gets to a point where you say you've just run out of excuses, haven't you?
One of the subjects that you raise as part of Labour's ridiculous spending is, of course, illegal migration, right? It's Saturday night. There are programmes when the sports scores get presented. So stand by, camera. Here we go. The scores are just in on the illegal immigration. Illegal immigrants, 1,659. That's just in the last 3 days. Thrown out by Sir Keir Starmer, nil. I think that's a resounding victory for people coming here on dinghies, and a huge, huge insult yet again to the British people who are paying for this avoidable nonsense. And Paul, please tell me, how is smashing the gangs going exactly?
So the question was, do we get into a blame game or not, don't we? And I think it's legitimate to say that we've had a 10 years underinvestment in the economy. It started with Cameron and Osborne and the austerity. Liz Truss obviously blew the whole thing up. You can blame COVID too for the weaknesses in the economy. You can blame the crisis on the borders, as Peter does, but you can also blame Brexit, which is the point that Starmer's making. I've never met anyone who thinks we're better off now than we were before Brexit. The benefits that were promised have not accrued. We all feel impoverished and the streets are dirtier and the services are struggling, and we're not better off as a result of being out of the EU. And that is the point that is going to be made at the next budget, is that it's not about a blame game, but it's just saying these are the reasons why Rachel Reeves is going to have to take some of those very tough decisions. By the way, Reform, they are in power in some places, and where they are in power in the local authorities, the ones who've declared so far are putting their council taxes up, despite saying they're going to make savings.
We have to be honest because that's not been declared yet. That may be the case, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, we'll be here to discuss it, won't we? But whole swathes of England, they were lied to. They were told that the Reform councils would put the tax down. It's going to go up.
Well, I think we'll see. We'll see about that. Go on, then. I've got a lot to say, but I want to hear what you have to say.
I'm just going to say very briefly that this kind of retrospective, analysis of what went wrong, we've had enough of it, Paul. We've had it, we've listened to it, we've had enough of it, and that is the problem. Look now, after the conference, at the strategic position of Keir Starmer. He has carried on blaming Farage, naming Farage in his speech, blaming Reform, etc., etc. Kemi Badenoch has actually had a change in strategy. I don't think she actually named Farage once in her speech, and she has clearly made a strategic decision not to go on and on blaming Reform and mentioning them all the time. Because when push comes to shove, what we have to do is sit down and figure out some policies which are going to be very hard to implement and very hard for people to stomach.
And Paul, you make a living out of politics. To say that politics is not a blame game is ridiculous. Of course you blame the government that's in charge. They're in charge, they're running the show, or supposed to be. It's a blame game. That's the very essence of it.
I think that we can debate till the dogs come home whether or not that it's Brexit's to blame for this, but I think we get to a point where you say, actually, Brexit happened quite a long time ago now. Sure. The Tories, of course, did make a mess of things, but Labour's also had an opportunity here. It had an opportunity in it will be over a year since the last budget to have made an impact. They are failing to grow the economy. They're failing to get on top of the illegal migration crisis, which is costing us billions and billions of pounds. Then I listed out a litany of things that they splurged on.
Hang on.
Paul, so you can't point the finger purely at Brexit.
On your litany, you said tax... No, you said wage increases. Well, that's putting money in people's pockets.
No, I didn't say wage increase. I said public sector pay.
Well, that is a wage increase.
Well, sure, but it's coming at the cost of the private sector, right?
It's putting money in the pocket of people who then spend that in local pubs and restaurants and shops.
But what's going to happen in the autumn?
Money into the economy.
But what's going to happen in the autumn with the next budget? You're going to tax us for that.
Then you said departmental overspends. Well, that's money going into the National Health Service to bring down the waiting list, so that's a good thing.
That's not working either, is it?
Well, the waiting lists are coming down, so I would argue that the funding is. So actually, you do need to invest in the National Health Service. And so, these things in isolation sound like head numbers, but actually it's about doing things in the economy that will benefit things.
We're not benefiting. 0%
growth.
You can't spend what you haven't got.
Well, the whole House of Cards is built on growth. That is an entirely fair point. And in fact, if, this government will be judged in 4 years at the election, did it grow the economy or not? And I'm happy to live or die by that. And that's right. Because if without the growth, you can't spend the money on the public services.
The only thing that's grown under this government in the last 14 months, unfortunately, are the hairs coming out my ears.
On that note, I think that's a good point to end it there. It's time now for the Great British Giveaway. Make sure you don't miss out on this. The chance to become our biggest winner, of course. Brand new motorhome up for grabs, 30k in tax-free cash. Here's all the details you'll need to make it yours.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year with a prize worth over £104,000. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. Worth over £74,000, this luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash cash to spend however you like. Someone is guaranteed to win our biggest prize to date, so make sure that winner could be you. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck, everybody. Well, coming up, I'll bring you the latest on that breaking bombshell news, because emails from Prince Andrew to convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein have been revealed, and trust me, it's not good. But next, Canterbury Cathedral's graffiti art installation sparks outrage during comments from JD Vance and Elon Musk. What a big show we've got for you. This is Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Alex Armstrong Tonight. Well, visitors to one of Britain's most historic cathedrals were, well, shocked this week to find its walls and pillars covered in graffiti, leaving the interior of the building looking like what one person described as an underground car park in Peckham. The images are actually stick-on, and it's all part of a new art installation that aims to represent marginalised communities. Oh, give me a break. Christian activist groups have called it completely disrespectful and demanded it be taken down immediately. And even the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, weighed in. He posted on X that the beautiful historical building had been rendered ugly, whilst ex-boss Elon Musk had one word to share, and that was shameful. So, is this project a good way of showing faith is for all, or is it just complete sacrilege? Well, we're now joined by the Vicar of Christ Church in New Malden, Stephen Kurt, and former chaplain to Queen Elizabeth II, Dr. Gavin Ashenden. Dr. Gavin, I'd like to start with you. I have to say I was very shocked to see this. I thought it was real graffiti at first, which I'm sure is possibly part of the idea they had to do this. But churches are not art museums. They are there to congregate and for people to share their faith. Do you think this was a good idea?
Well, I think the Dean of Canterbury has missed his vocation as somebody who ought to be in charge of a very edgy arts centre, perhaps in Brighton or somewhere like that. And, you know, but he shouldn't be in charge of a cathedral. Cathedrals have got a task. Most of us would agree on what they are. They're supposed to represent the very best, the most beautiful, the most holy, the most transcendent, the most jaw-dropping, the most breathtaking away, so that we can get access to that aspect of the living God. There are other aspects of the living God, a relationship with Jesus, reading the Bible, but I think what he's trying to do, which is to turn something so beautiful into something accessible for the marginalised, it's a bit like drawing a moustache on the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. You just wouldn't do it.
I actually completely concur, Gavin, but Stephen, you may have a different opinion. Enlighten me. Why do you think this is a good thing, and do you think it will bring younger people perhaps into the church?
Well, look, it's clearly not to everyone's taste, and everything Gavin just said about what Christianity should be, I wholeheartedly want to endorse. But I think this is an attempt to try to connect with people's questions. And the origins of this is that young people from Generation Z, so people born between 1997 and 2012, were asked the questions they'd like to ask God. And then this artist put it into graffiti form. So it won't be to everyone's taste. It is temporary. They've made it absolutely clear that they're not endorsing vandalism. And I think it is an attempt to connect the unchanging message of Christianity with people's cultural background. So it won't be to everyone's taste, but I think it's an honest attempt to try and connect with people. And there are lots of young people coming back to church, and this is an attempt to connect with them.
Yes, I see what you mean there, but I don't know many young people that actually, you know, commit the crime of graffiti on the walls. I don't know any young people that don't. I certainly never participated myself. But I'll go back to you, Gavin, because you know this cathedral was built, you know, 597 or something along those lines, 596, something like that, by Saint Augustine. It's one of the most important cathedrals in the country, and whether or not you like the attempt at art here, my concern is that it actually, whilst they say they're not endorsing graffiti, it does in some way say, well, this is okay, provided you're spreading the message of God, perhaps. What do you make of that?
Well, three things, very briefly. Augustine came in 597. The cathedral he built burned down, and they started again in about the 10th century. But be that as may, it's very, very old, very beautiful. I think I'd say, first of all, the Roman Catholic experience is that young people are really absolutely turning back to God. And what's really surprised everybody is that they're going to the Latin Mass. They want the mystery, the transcendence, the beauty, the extraordinariness of God that is not the kind of getting down with the kids funky stuff that generations of old hippies thought they ought to want. So they're voting with their feet in something else. The next thing I think I'd say is that whenever I see graffiti, I say I'm in a dangerous part of town where there's no order, where women get raped, where shops get vandalized, where there's drugs on the streets, and I don't like it. It's unsafe. And I think to take the unsafe and the ugly from the urban experience and put it in a cathedral is not the way of doing the task that Stephen Kurt has admirably expressed. He's quite right. We need to find ways of articulating people's questions. So 8 out of 10 for working out there's a problem. absolute zero for the application of solving the problem like that. Wrong place to solve it. There are plenty of other places where you could take that kind of graffiti, like an underground car park in Peckham, get the kids who are pushing drugs on the street in Peckham into an underground car park, put that graffiti up, and maybe there'll be conversations, but they're not in Canterbury Cathedral.
Yes, I do concur. I think execution was probably 0 out of 10, for my taste at least anyway. But Stephen, perhaps there is an important message here. We do need to get more young people into the church. And many people do criticise the church for not trying to be accessible enough to young people. Is there more things the church can do? Perhaps, maybe steer away from the graffiti ideas in the future, given the controversy around it. But are there other things the church can do to engage young people, where perhaps they could even ask young people what they would like to see as a way to engage them? Because I see in America they have apps as well, and those apps are doing exceptionally well. Surely it's just maybe reaching them through a new form of technology, perhaps.
I think it's trying every possible way to connect God with people's lives. And there are some people who love the traditional approach, and some people love a sort of more edgy, more modern approach. So tomorrow morning at my church, we'll have a 9:30 service, which is entirely child-friendly. But then at 11 o'clock, I'll have to completely change character and do the more traditional stuff. And I just want to do as much as possible to help as many people as possible to connect with the God who loves them. And Gavin wants to do the same. I think we're pretty much coming off the same page in what we're trying to do. But there will always be different approaches. And let's not forget, in Canterbury Cathedral in 1170, a certain Thomas à Becket was murdered because he didn't quite do what the king wanted. And the king may not have intended it quite, but 4 knights went and hacked him to death. So there's been controversy in Canterbury Cathedral before, and it survived that. I think it can survive this as well.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Gavin, final thoughts from you. And I certainly agree with the previous statement you made. I think young people are yearning for theology. They're yearning for a return to teachings of the Bible, perhaps not too much on the art side of things. They've got plenty of places they can find that. What more can be done, particularly in trying to push young people to the church?
Well, first of all, I vote for Mr. Kurt to be made Dean of Canterbury. He'll do a very good job of it. But the next thing I'd say is, the thing is, Jesus is absolutely captivating. The problem is they don't know about Jesus. They haven't heard about him. Anyone who's met Jesus gets blown away by this extraordinary possibility that we were made for a reason, we've been given our life as gifts, and God's made it possible to know him in person. And Jesus is the way that's done it. Now, you can think of 1,000 ways of applying that, and good luck to it, but graffiti in Canterbury Cathedral doesn't take that a step further. Introduce people to Jesus and you've begun a journey.
Stephen, Gavin, a very good-hearted debate there. You two can teach the politicians of our country some good morals and how to debate there. Thank you both very much for joining me. Coming up, Harry and Meghan. There's a lot of royal stories tonight, honestly. Harry and Meghan, get this, they are named Humanitarians of the Year in New York. I'm asking, do they deserve it? I think I know what you think at home, but stay tuned, because next...
Where are you from?
Because I'm from Epstein, and I'm not racist. Yeah, I'm come here to prove that I'm not racist.
As I said, I've been very busy because earlier this week I visited a Pink Lady protest in Tower Hamlets where the Britannia Migrant Hotel operates. This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Storm Alice continues to bring heavy thundery rain to eastern parts of Spain, including the Balearics. Some places could see 50 to 100 millimetres of rain in just a few hours, and these totals will continue to build up for a little while yet. Eventually it is going to ease and clear away, and actually elsewhere there's a lot of fine sunny weather across much of southern Europe as we go through Sunday and into the beginning of next week. Always in the sunshine, feeling pretty warm. See you later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. The dry weather continues for most of us through the course of this weekend. There will be some fog around overnight tonight, but as we go through Sunday, the sunshine will break through once again. And high pressure is really dominating the UK's weather through the next few days, centred slap bang across the middle of the UK, so bringing light winds and dry weather for many. Northern Scotland, though, will see a bit of light rain and drizzle through the course of this evening and into the early hours of Sunday morning, but otherwise a mixture of cloud and clear spells. Where the clear skies do persist for any length of time, we'll see temperatures drop down into low single figures perhaps in rural spots. But there'll also be some mist and fog developing. We think most likely in parts of England and Wales, but southern Scotland could also see some fog patches by the end of the night as well. In the south of the UK, it's perhaps more likely to be a mixture of mist and low clouds, so a murky start to the day for many. Some sunshine though for West Wales and northern England, although there will be some fog around here, particularly in the Vale of York. Cloudy skies for Northern Ireland and certainly across northern Scotland. Still quite gloomy conditions here. Areas of low cloud and mist around across the hills and around the coast as well, with some bits and pieces of light rain and drizzle perhaps still possible. Through the day though, I am expecting that cloud in the south and the fog to lift. So generally by the afternoon, a brighter story for many of us. Some sunshine for many too. Generally tending to hold on to a bit more in the way of cloud, probably for Northern Ireland and certainly across northern Scotland, still a bit gloomy here with some bits and pieces of rain. Temperatures though in the best of the sunshine, 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, so feeling pleasant for October. More in the way of cloud, generally speaking, across England and Wales by Monday. That cloud potentially thick enough to give the odd spit or spot of light rain or drizzle in the breeze, but most places staying dry. Plenty of sunshine for Scotland and perhaps northern England, but generally through the week ahead we are expecting to see quite a bit of cloud for most of us and temperatures around the seasonal normal but slightly below in places.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Welcome back to the show. Well, earlier this week, I went to a pink ladies' protest in Tower Hamlets in London, the area in which the Britannia Migrant Hotel currently operates. Take a look.
Look at what's happening to the country, and as a councillor in East Riding, I can see what's happening. I get a lot of concerns from residents. Every time a hotel is going up for sale, everyone's got this anxiety because they're seeing what's happening in London and Bournemouth and Braintree and Epping, and they're really concerned. And it's not far right to care about your children and care about demographic change that's so quick and so heavy.
My message is that refugees are welcome here and billionaires are dividing us with the media. They're dividing all these people to believe that separate every colour, religion, which is not the problem in the country. The problem is billionaires dividing the working class, pitting each other against people, when there's so much bigger issues to solve, and everybody is welcome.
Where are you from?
Because I'm from Epping, and I'm not racist. Yeah, I'm come here to prove that I'm not racist. You know, we've got all friends that are black, white, pink, green, whatever colours you want to call us, yeah? We all love each other. We're not here to cause trouble, we're here to protest.
Oh, it's important right now to stand up for immigrant rights, for asylum rights, for the opening of the borders, and for everyone that is fighting for equality, real equality by any means necessary. We welcome everyone, and in fact we think that everyone that is here for a better life is fighting for the things that everyone wants. Housing, education, and afford a life that is a life of dignity.
I'm concerned about the disinformation being spread by the Pink Ladies and it causing division in our schools and in our communities.
And so the Tower Hamlets Council, of course, are planning to brand Pink Ladies as far right today. They want a far right group, that's what they're calling them. Why do you think that's important?
If you look at the people that they associate with, I can understand why Tower Hamlets are doing that, because it seems to be that their existence is spreading hate and division.
And what does the term far right mean to you? Because that's the label that they're going to give this group.
To me, it means that they're aligning themselves with people who have white supremacy as an agenda and don't believe in community cohesion.
What are you counter-protesting?
These white aggressive men who have been threatening me for coming outside the town hall. I've just had now 1, 2, 3 white men. This guy's told me, oh, you're on your second warning for being here.
And why, gentlemen, just give me one moment if you don't mind. Why is it important that you're here today?
To say that we're not going to be intimidated by these racist men who are trying to make women and minorities feel unsafe.
But you might label it as extremist Hamas supporters. That's propaganda.
Well, I do believe Hamas are extremists, and I believe they're a terrorist organisation.
As extremist as Israel.
I believe Hamas is a terrorist organisation prescribed by multiple nations, by Britain. Do you support Hamas?
They've been designated by white people as terrorists because...
Do you support Hamas?
No, it's not. I don't support Hamas. I support resistance to occupation.
Why do you think Hamas is a good organisation to resist?
If it wasn't Hamas, it'd be someone else. The problem is, people that look like you gave away someone else's homeland, which you had no right to, and to this day, you are supporting...
I never gave anyone's land away. It's not my fault. Why should I be held accountable for former... But why should I have to stand with anybody? I don't want to get involved in a foreign war. I don't stand with anybody. I stand with the United Kingdom.
We're going to keep protesting, and one day Palestine will be free, whatever labels you put on it.
It's so revealing, isn't it? Every time I go to a protest like that, for some reason, it's always a Palestine counter-protest. It doesn't matter what the issue is. And do you know what was so funny? It was so funny and so telling when I asked, and I went around loads of people who wouldn't talk to me, by the way, as soon as they found out I was from GB News, and I asked them, why are you here? What do you think of the Pink Ladies? None of them knew who the Pink Ladies were, despite them being there, supposedly, to counter-protest them. I think that was exceptionally revealing. Anyway, I've got my fantastic panel back with me in the room. Peter, you're a copper. One of the other criticisms I had of this protest was that there was loads of police on the Palestine side, and we've got vulnerable women on the other side who are being accosted by blokes from the local area, Whitechapel. It always felt there's a bit of two-tier there.
I was a police officer.
Sorry, yes, you were. Sorry,
a very long time ago.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think it's best if you just play that clip, which is brilliant, and thank you for going down there and doing it, and leave it without comment. The viewers and listeners are already making their minds up. It speaks for itself in all its ludicrous, whatever it may be. The woman, the woman with the big banner in front, spouting off about equality. There you go, the lunatic left, who will not rest until we are all as equally skint as one another by giving all the money to people who come to this country illegally, don't deserve it and shouldn't be here. Let's just make it one big melting pot where we're all skint and we eat off the pavement.
Yeah, I think they'd like that, actually. That sounds like that kind of communism, doesn't it?
They'd love it.
Paul, the problem I've got with all these things is, again, they don't have a clear message. They don't have a clear message. And actually, they talk about racism coming from the Pink Ladies, but I heard a lot of racism aimed at a bunch of white people, as they would call it, while they were. I think there's only one lady who actually refers to the men there as white men there. And that's always this feeling I get when I come to these counter-protests. And I'm like, well, you're calling the other group racist, but you're very happy to go around calling them white this and pointing out their skin colour.
So, Tower Hamlets Council is controlled by an organisation called Aspire.
Yes.
So it's not a Labour council.
Yes, this is true, yes.
And this is run by a guy called Lutfur Rahman. If you Google him, some interesting stuff will come up about him and his background. Now, my argument would be Tower Hamlets, one of the most deprived boroughs in London, if not the country, has got the highest level of child poverty in London. They should focus on fixing that. It's got a homelessness crisis. They should focus on fixing that. The educational standards in the schools are not ideal. They could do a lot with that. So why are they creating headlines and demos and all of that by, prescribing an organisation that isn't even based in the borough? I don't know, when they've got a lot of more problems to deal with.
And Paul, why does that borough have those problems?
Well, the same reason it's had it for hundreds of years, I just think. It's a sort of rather deprived part of East London. I don't think.
Why does it have those problems now?
For the same reason it always has. It's never been a rich area.
No. Why does it have those problems?
Because it's got poor people.
Don't duck the issue.
It's got poor people living in it. What do you think?
Yes, and why have those poor people gravitated towards that borough, and where does a majority of them originate from?
Well, a third of them are Bangladeshi, right? A third are from other parts of the world, and a third are indigenous British people.
Thank you.
So it's a third, a third, a third.
Thank you, Your Honour. I rest my case.
Masterclass, Peter.
You can't blame it on the Irish and the Jews and all the other people.
No, but I think he's right. I mean, we were on this show. I don't know when we played it. It might have been a Sunday. I can't remember. But I went to Whitechapel, and the amount of people there I went up to ask for a comment, and they said they don't speak English. It does create problems. And then of course, they think the Pink Ladies. A lot of them think they're a far right group because they're mostly white women, and that's just unfortunately the vast majority of the country is white people.
Like I say, what's it got to do with the council?
I don't know why they were doing it. But Linda, let's
The problem you've got here is you've got so many different groups protesting that they don't really know what they're all protesting about now. It's just a melange.
The Pink Ladies do. The Pink Ladies know exactly what they're protesting about.
No,
they're protesting about
I agree with that.
Full of people who shouldn't be in this country, some of whom are interfering with children and women when they actually leave these hotels wherever they're being.
So why are they I agree, but a lot of the other groups, though, are all protesting about things, and they're not protesting against the Pink Ladies. They're protesting about Palestine. I mean, that is totally unconnected.
Honestly, Linda, I can't tell you. Every single person I spoke to who was supposedly at a counter-protest couldn't tell me why they were there. And there was lots of unison jackets, obviously, who organised the counter-protest, who called the Pink Ladies far right in their message. But we're there protesting Palestine. You can't make it up. It's completely
the fact of the matter is
bonkers.
we're spending far too much time policing these demonstrations and protests and not enough time and money actually sorting out the fundamental problems. We have known for a long time, certainly in West London, where I've spoken to the borough commander there, we have known that there is a problem inside these hotels for at least 3 years. And only now is it rising to the surface because of people like the Pink Ladies who are
very briefly.
Now, of course, Shabana Mahmood, that famously Muslim Home Secretary of ours, has said that if the cumulative effect of all these protests and demonstrations becomes too much so that policing can't be done properly elsewhere, they'll bring in new legislation. I'm not holding my breath.
I've got to leave it there, unfortunately. Thank you very much, panel, as ever. A spokesperson from Tower Hamlets Council said this: the council resolved to strengthen community engagement, particularly on the Isle of Dogs, support staff safety and uphold public order in the face of intimidation, expand the award-winning No Place for Hate programme, work with partners to counter far-right activity and misinformation, and invest in housing, advice services and community infrastructure to tackle the root causes of division. The motion also condemns attempts by organised far-right groups to spread division and commits to protecting all residents regardless of background so they feel safe, respected and heard. I will let you make your minds up about what you make of that. Coming up, earlier today, I also went to the pro-Palestine protest and this is what happened.
What, you all the way here? To free Palestine. Where are you guys from? We're GBNews. Oh dear.
That was one of the nicer responses I had, frankly. I also got hit on the head. We'll see if you can spot that in the next one. But next, Prince Andrew exposed even more. New emails reveal the full extent of the Duke of York's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth. Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on a BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Oh, well, in the last few moments, a leaked email has revealed that Prince Andrew told convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, "We are in this together." That's just months after claiming he'd cut all ties with the notorious paedophile. The message from February 2011, sent just one day after the infamous photo of Prince Andrew with Virginia Giuffre and Ghislaine Maxwell re-emerged, contradicting the Duke's claim that he ended all contact in 2010. The email was sent from Prince Andrew's official account bearing the automatic signature HRH, the Duke of York, KG. Well, to discuss this bombshell revelation, I'm now joined by royal commentator and former royal gardener, Jack Stooks. Jack, thank you so much for joining me. This story, of course, is fresh, hot off the press, and quite a bombshell for Prince Andrew, who he constantly manages to find himself in the headlines. Of course, we heard Fergie indicted in another sort of allegation not that long ago. I guess this must be it for Prince Andrew. It's looking like he, allegedly, what the Sun are saying is that he lied on his BBC interview.
You know, I thank you for having me on. And yes, I mean, this is breaking. You know, it's just come out that this email's been seen. But this is what we're finding with Prince Andrew, unfortunately. You know, this happened 6 years ago, that interview with Emily Maitlis. And since then, it's been shrouded in what else is coming out, what's next. And, you know, I know he sort of said he's innocent, and he, in fairness, he's never been found guilty of doing anything. So that's obviously one positive that we've got on this for Prince Andrew. But however, paying somebody off so something doesn't go to court doesn't look like you're innocent. Emails coming from your wife saying certain things doesn't look innocent. And now this email as well doesn't look innocent. So it's looking worse and worse for Prince Andrew, unfortunately. And, you know, that doesn't help the royal family. This isn't something that the royal family want to see. And unfortunately, this is something that's happening.
Yeah, and Jack, I guess the big question now over Andrew's future, I mean, we have seen he's tried to edge his way back into the royal family, but it sounds like, you know, the royal family have washed their hands with him. I guess what's next for him now, because I have heard rumours of a potential exile for Prince Andrew. Perhaps the royal family knew this was coming, and I have heard that they might be sending him off to potentially to Dubai.
We don't know what is going to happen with Prince Andrew. I mean, nobody does. And whether or not he wants to move, travel somewhere else, go and live somewhere else, that's obviously going to be down to him whether he wants to leave the country or not. But I can't see it looking very positive for him and for sort of bringing them back into the fold. We've seen them at recent Christmas events. Suddenly they've sort of been brought back into the fold. And now it does seem to be that, that quick reverse situation where, let's maybe just not have too much to do with this, because what else is coming? What's next? What other email are they going to find? What other photograph are they going to find? And this is sad because, this isn't just one person that it's affecting. I mean, this is his whole family's been affected. His wife's been affected. And, it's more, I feel very sorry for his children. He's brought them up amazingly well considering the situation that we're now finding. But those children have been brought up well. So let's hope it doesn't affect them as much as it's going to affect Prince Andrew.
Indeed. And Jack, have you had any encounters with Prince Andrew during your time working for the Royals?
I was once, I think, I was once at the palace and met him literally in passing, and it was pretty much a hello, how are you, and that was about it. So I've never had any dealings, sort of, can I say, good or bad, from Prince Andrew. But I've obviously dealt with the King and the Queen, and they're amazing, lovely people. I've dealt with Prince William, Prince Harry, and again, seeing them and the Princess of Wales. I mean, they're all amazingly lovely people, but I've not obviously seen the insides.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jack. Unfortunately, I've got to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me, Royal Commentator and former Royal Gardener Jack Stooks. Thank you. Coming up, a Reform UK councillor in Scotland has been reported to police for this bizarre reason. Find out why, but next.
Yes, I was pushed on the ground by the pro-Pally mob, and then the police escort dragged me out of there and manhandled me.
We've got exclusive footage of that, and whether I got hit on the head, you'll have to find out. Here's your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. The dry weather continues for most of us through the course of this weekend. There will be some fog around overnight tonight, but as we go through Sunday, the sunshine will break through once again. And high pressure is really dominating the UK's weather through the next few days, centred slap bang across the middle of the UK, so bringing light winds and dry weather for many. Northern Scotland, though, will see a bit of light rain and drizzle through the course of this evening and into the early hours of Sunday morning, but otherwise a mixture of cloud and clear spells. Where the clear skies do persist for any length of time, we'll see temperatures drop down into low single figures perhaps in rural spots, but there'll also be some mist and fog developing. We think most likely in parts of England and Wales, but southern Scotland could also see some fog patches by the end of the night as well. In the south of the UK, it's perhaps more likely to be a mixture of mist and low clouds, so a murky start to the day for many. Some sunshine, though, for West Wales and northern England, although there will be some fog around here, particularly in the Vale of York. Cloudy skies for Northern Ireland and certainly across northern Scotland. Still quite gloomy conditions here. Areas of low cloud and mist around across the hills and around the coast as well, with some bits and pieces of light rain and drizzle perhaps still possible. Through the day, though, I am expecting that cloud in the south and the fog to lift. So, generally, by the afternoon, a brighter story for many of us. Some sunshine for many too. Generally tending to hold on to a bit more in the way of cloud, probably for Northern Ireland, and certainly across northern Scotland, still a bit gloomy here with some bits and pieces of rain. Temperatures, though, in the best of the sunshine, 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, so feeling pleasant for October. More in the way of cloud, generally speaking, across England and Wales by Monday. That cloud potentially thick enough to give the odd spit or spot of light rain or drizzle in the breeze, but most places staying dry. Plenty of sunshine for Scotland and perhaps northern England, but generally through the week ahead we are expecting to see quite a bit of cloud for most of us, and temperatures around the seasonal normal but slightly below in places.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. Not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored. Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable. What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Good evening, it's 10 p.m. I'm Alex Armstrong. Tonight.
Yes, I was pushed on the ground by the pro-Pally mob. And then the police escort dragged me out of there, manhandled me.
Pro-Gaza hate marches are again happening in our capital city, London. It seems they do not want peace in the Middle East, from what I've heard. I've also been in the thick of it all to bring you the real story. And
look at what's happening to the country, and as a councillor in East Riding, I can see what's happening. I get a lot of concerns from residents. Every time a hotel is going up for sale, everyone's got this anxiety.
I've been very busy this week, you might be able to tell. I went to the Pink Ladies protest as they counter-protested Tower Hamlets Council for trying to prescribe some groups as far right. Also,
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
Let's play again soon. Damning new emails reveal Prince Andrew lied in that infamous BBC interview about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
£22 billion black hole.
The £22 billion black hole of £22 billion.
The most unpopular Prime Minister and Chancellor in history are trying to blame the economic mess they've made on, guess who? Nigel Farage. Plus, Harry and Meghan are named as Humanitarians of the Year. You can't make it up, can you? Yet another glitzy award for the Prince and Princess of Montecito. Do they really deserve it? I know what you think. And
true unrest, and it's scary. It's scary as a local resident, somebody who's born and bred here.
honestly, this has got to be the most insane story of the week. A Reform councillor in Scotland has been reported to the police for saying she was born and bred in Scotland. Honestly, you can't make it up. And, of course, tributes are pouring in around the world for celebrated actress Diane Keaton, who has died at the age of 79 in California. And to talk about all these stories, tonight I'm joined by journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, former Scotland Yard detective Peter Blexley and former Labour advisor Paul Richards. What is going on in this video? Have a look. Trust me, it gets so much weirder and worse. A huge hour of breaking news coming up for you, trust me. But before that, your headlines with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you very much indeed. 2 minutes past 10. Our top stories. We begin with breaking news. New evidence has emerged that's revealed Prince Andrew told the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, "We are in this together," months after claiming he cut all ties with the notorious paedophile. The email from February 2011, in which Andrew tells Epstein they would play some more soon, was sent just a day after the infamous photo of the Duke of York with Virginia Giuffre and Ghislaine Maxwell re-emerged, contradicting the Duke's claim that he ended all contact in 2010, made in his notorious interview with the BBC. The email was sent from Prince Andrew's official account, bearing the automatic signature HRH, the Duke of York, KG. Epstein's address, listed as the recipient, has been officially verified. Huge crowds gathered in Tel Aviv earlier ahead of the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas, where the mention of Donald Trump's name drew a loud cheer of gratitude. Well, the crowd was addressed by two of the architects of the ceasefire deal, Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law Jared Kushner, along with Kushner's wife Ivanka Trump. Hamas now has just over 36 hours to release all Israeli hostages, after which Israel will free thousands of Palestinian prisoners. Witkoff says the US president is owed deep gratitude and says he dreamed of this night.
We stand here tonight, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and people from every corner of the world, united by one shared prayer for peace. Tonight, we celebrate something extraordinary, a moment that many thought was impossible. Yet here we stand, living proof that when courage meets conviction, miracles can happen.
Palestinian officials say more than 500,000 people have returned to Gaza City, with thousands more travelling north. Rescue teams have begun recovering bodies from ruined buildings. Authorities believe almost 10,000 people remain unaccounted for. Aid agencies have called for crossings into Gaza to be reopened to allow more humanitarian aid in. A small number of people have been arrested following a pro-Palestinian demonstration in London to mark 2 years of the war in Gaza. Police say it followed a scuffle between several individuals after a group of counter-protesters from Stop the Hate breached conditions that were set in place to keep the two demonstrations apart. Well, tens of thousands of people joined the march to Parliament Square. Protesters have insisted the marches will continue until a free Palestine is achieved. Former Lost Prophets singer Ian Watkins has died after being attacked in prison. The paedophile rock star was serving a 29-year sentence for child sex offences. He was attacked with a knife at Wakefield Prison in Yorkshire this morning. Emergency services were called, but Watkins was pronounced dead at the scene. No survivors are expected to be found after a major explosion at a munitions factory in the US state of Tennessee. 18 people remain unaccounted for. It's still unclear what caused the explosion yesterday at the plant, which is southwest of Nashville. The facility specialises in the development and manufacture of explosives. And finally, some sad news. Celebrated actress Diane Keaton has died at the age of 79. Keaton, who rose to fame in the 1970s, won an Oscar for Annie Hall in one of her many collaborations with Woody Allen. She also starred in The Godfather, Baby Boom, First Wives Club and Something's Gotta Give. The actor had not been in the public eye for some months, but no illness had been announced. She's survived by her 2 children. That's it for the moment. I'll be back with more at 11.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Well, despite an historic peace deal, pro-Palestine marchers were out again today. And can you spot the moment I get hit in the head by a protester?
Alex Armstrong, GB News, how are you?
Hi, Alexander. Look at me.
Why is it important that you're here today?
We're standing with British people standing with Jews, and look how we're treated.
There is a space for
look
you
how
to
we're
stand.
treated. Get off me.
No, come stand here, please.
Get your hands off me. Why are we not allowed to stand for Jews?
Stop.
For what?
This lady's trying to walk through here, counter-protesting.
We're standing for British Jews. What possible reason can you arrest me? We're standing for British Jews. Are you anti-Semitic? Then why would you arrest me? Why would you arrest me?
Because there's a space for you to stand.
I stand for Jews.
And there's a place for you. There's a counter-protest.
We're not
You can't stand in the middle of the protest.
I'm saying we're making a statement. We stand for British Jews.
Which is your right.
It's always unfortunate when there's some sort of violence, but you can see there's a bloke who just sort of came around there trying to snatch the placard out of her hand as she was being escorted away by police. He unfortunately whacked me in the head while he was at it, then pushed me aside, but I did manage to stop him, thankfully. We did catch up with that lady later on.
Getting arrested not that long ago, just down the road at the protest. Are you okay, first of all, and how do you feel?
Yes, I was pushed on the ground by the pro-Pally mob, and then the police escort dragged me out of there, manhandled me, and then they accused me of assaulting them, so they arrested me. I says, I didn't assault anyone. He says, you did it with your arm. I says, how did I do it with my elbow if you had my hands? And he wouldn't answer the question. And then he said that if you go that way, then we will de-arrest you. I says, but can you tell me why I'm not allowed here? I says, what is it about my sign, which is British people stand with Jews? What is it about this sign that's provocative?
Well, I was following you while the arrest was taking place. I got hit over the head by a man intervening. It's not your fault, but I got hit over the head with a man intervening, trying to also attack you as well. Did you feel quite scared?
Well, the thing is, in the moment, if I am scared, I know it's scary, but if I'm scared fighting for my rights today, tomorrow we'll lose them. So we have to fight. We have to stand up and fight for our British values. We have to fight for the Jews. Look what happened in the synagogue. They're getting killed. We can't allow this to happen on our watch.
And are you happy with Donald Trump's ceasefire? Do you think it's going to hold?
I hope so. I don't trust Hamas. I hope so. But, you know, as Donald Trump normally does, he always has something up his sleeve. So I'm hoping that he'll surprise us with something.
Well, you know, look, at GB News, we do always want to get both sides of the story. So here's what some pro-Palestine protesters had to say to me.
Brought you all the way here?
To free Palestine. Where are you guys from?
We're GB News.
Oh dear.
We just want to know what you're doing. We're just asking why you're here.
Well, your funding will run out eventually, so, yeah.
And what do you make of the ceasefire deal?
While you have it.
What do you make of the ceasefire deal?
Israel will break it like it always does.
And do you hope that Donald Trump will intervene if they break it? Do you have any hopes of that?
Not really.
And what do you hope by being here today?
We hope to show solidarity with the people of Palestine who have been subjugated to terror, destruction, murder and death for 80 years.
Are you hopeful for the ceasefire deal?
I'm hopeful. Everyone is hopeful. But I've remembered every time when that ceasefire was broken, it was always broken by the Israelis. And that cannot happen again.
And do you think there's any hope of a lasting peace?
As long as you've got the people of Palestine and Gaza involved. I mean, we've got Tony Blair put in there as a peace envoy.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
I mean, for God's sake, was Satan having a day off that day? Was he having a day off that day? So they said, hang on, we'll get his second in command, the war criminal Tony Blair. You couldn't make it up. It's like something out of a horror film.
There should be an investigation into this government on how much they have aided and abetted a genocide, and they're still doing it.
Our government is complicit in all of those deaths in Palestine. Even the Tories wouldn't do this, but for a Labour government, shameful.
From the Green Party?
Yes.
Where are you
What?
from? Where are you
GB
from?
News.
No, don't talk to GB News.
Why not? We just want to hear what you have to say, that's all.
History tells us it's not going to be a peace deal. I'm only going by history.
Do you think there will ever be a two-state solution?
People don't want it.
Both sides don't want it?
I think one side wants it, the other doesn't want it. I think Mr. Blair was to walk around here. I think you'll need a skip because of the number of tomatoes that will be thrown at him.
This is not a hate march. We've been slammed for 2 years. I've been coming to these for over 10 years. We're consistently called, every name under the sun. There are multiple diverse people on these marches. There are Jewish blocs. If you look, they've got huge banners, Jewish blocs. This is not an anti-Jewish march by any means. What we're trying to do is save lives. That's where I'm coming from, and that's where a lot of people coming here are coming from.
What do you make of the ceasefire deal? Are you content that it will do anything?
I'm massively sceptical. And you'll have to forgive me for that because I'm an optimist and a positive person. But everybody involved in these talks, I'm sceptical about. I don't appreciate Hamas. I don't appreciate Donald Trump. My concern is for the people on the ground who've been slaughtered for 2 years.
This is Shabana Mahmood's GB News, but... Oh, very strong language. I can't repeat her language for national television.
She was so rude to me, I can't tell you, honestly. The words she was shouting at me across a crowd of people were just utterly dreadful. But of course, you can see some sensible voices there mixed in with a lot of mad. We did make our way over to the counter-protesters who had some strong feelings about the march today, including one woman whose husband was inside the Manchester synagogue during the terror attack.
Seeing calls for jihad, calls for intifada, and last week the fruit of those calls for jihad came true when a man literally called jihad went and murdered 2 Jews in Manchester. It's important that every decent moral person stands up against this hatred that we're seeing rise via the pro-Palestine movement.
As an Iranian, I'm just so sad that we have so many brainwashed people on the other side siding with jihadis and terrorists because they don't know the realities of living on the Islamic Republic or under terrorism.
On David's home at Yom Kippur, there's a knock at the door from a neighbour and she said, tell your husband not to go to the synagogue. It was agonising. The only bit of information we got was a photograph from a news clip on the television. At that point, we knew he was okay. He was helping to hold the doors. And he saw that face. It was evil. He said it was like staring into the eyes of evil.
Do you think the Prime Minister and the government did a good job after the attack? Do you think they've done enough to protect Jewish people?
Just words, isn't it?
Well, the big question is, can President Donald Trump pull off long-lasting peace? And will these marches ever end? That's the question on everyone's minds right now. I want to get the thoughts of my panel, journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, former Scotland Yard detective Peter Blexley, and former Labour advisor Paul Richards. Peter, I'll start with you because this is I see this now. I've been to these protests quite often. The huge drain on the resources of the Met Police and other police that are having to be busting across the country.
Yeah, but it won't last forever because, you see, if this peace holds in Gaza, all those thousands of people from those Palestine marches are going to get on aeroplanes, go to Gaza and help with the rebuilding.
Oh, do you think so?
They're going to plough their money into it. They're going to put, there'll be boots on the ground. They'll be there for the people of Gaza, rebuilding, holding that peace. Yeah, thousands of British people will go out there and help. Just wait and see. They'll be wrapped in their keffirs and off they'll go to really back their words.
Should we start a crowdfunder for this so we can pay for the tickets? I'm happy to help.
I've got a tenner.
Yeah. Linda, look, I mean, The problem is, I don't think these marches are ever going to end. I do not believe it, because they will always find a new thing to be offended about. Even if this peace deal goes exceptionally well and the hostages get returned and Hamas disappear, they'll find a new way, won't they?
Yeah, I'm not drawing a direct parallel, but it's a bit like the Greenham Common situation, which I covered when I was a young reporter. And do you remember it went on for years and years and years? So, Peter, I mean, I applaud your efforts at saying that they might actually want to hop on a plane. I'd be happy if they just took a few lessons in geopolitics. That would make me happy. I mean, that Iranian guy called it right. Most of the people there don't know what they're talking about. And actually, I'll say one more thing. And again, when I was a much younger reporter, I remember interviewing Douglas Herb when he was Foreign Secretary. And he said he wanted to bring stability to the Middle East. And I said, surely you just mean contained instability. And I think that's what's going to happen now. I think it will be incredibly hard to bring stability to the Middle East. We might have to settle for contained instability.
Yeah, and Paul, you know, you see the amount of people I go up to. I mean, that doesn't do it justice, unfortunately, with that footage. The amount of people we get abused from, and I mean, you could see the questions I was asking. They weren't agitating questions. We genuinely do want to report both sides of the story. The audience can determine what they think of that. But the problem with these people, I find very often, is that they tend to get very aggressive. They tend to be supporting a thing they don't understand, and they don't particularly like freedom of journalism, freedom of press or free speech very much.
Well, I think if you drill into the motives of the people coming out, you know, today, after a peace deal has been agreed, I think some of them perhaps are genuinely interested in peace in the Middle East and have an in-depth understanding of the geopolitics. I suspect that's a minority. Some of them like dressing up. And going out and shouting with their mates on a Saturday. They've been doing it for 2 years, so they don't want to miss out. And some of them, and I suspect a large section, are doing it because they hate Jews. And that won't go away because of a peace deal. But what it does show is that they're not actually about peace in Gaza and trying to get a two-state solution. There are these other motives. Just a word of warning, though. I'm old enough to remember the Oslo Accords and the fact that we had Rabin and Yasser Arafat shaking hands under the aegis of Bill Clinton, and look what happened next. That fell to bits very quickly. Rabin assassinated, of course, by an Israeli. And then the other thing in my mind is the mission accomplished banner at the very start of a long, drawn-out war in Iraq, where George W. Bush said it's all been done and it's finished. And the danger is, I think we're at that same moment of triumphalism, because I don't think we're anywhere near that.
Yeah, Peter, final thoughts from you on all of this. Do you think we're ever going to see an end to these marches?
As I've said to my kids on many an occasion, there's never been peace in the Middle East in my lifetime, despite all the false starts that Paul and Linda have alluded to. I fear not. Sadly, these people... I mean, I get dressed up on a Saturday afternoon and go and shout, but that's why I go to football.
I was going to say, not quite. I can't imagine you in a cafe anytime soon.
Because I actually have a life, and that's something worthwhile doing, rather than wrapping yourself in a cafe and going down and making a nuisance of yourself in Whitehall. No, these people are deranged, they're unhinged, they've got nothing better to do with their sad, pathetic lives, rather than go and be a nuisance and drain police resources, which, on a very serious note, could be much better deployed elsewhere.
You know, what I find funny about the kefir stuff is that, you know, not that long ago we were told dressing in any other culture's clothing made you cultural appropriation. Seems like that's all gone out the window, doesn't it, somehow? We forgot about that one, didn't we? Anyway, a Met spokesperson told GB News in relation to our footage of the woman being led away from the protest, they said this: officers made an arrest and the individual was subsequently de-arrested. We are currently reviewing the case. They added, over the course of the day, officers made 14 arrests. 7 of those were for breaching conditions under the Public Order Act, while arrests were also made for other offences, including supporting a prescribed group and affray. Well, surprise, surprise, eh? Time now for the great British giveaway, and make sure you don't miss out on your chance to become our biggest winner to date with a brand new motorhome and 30k in tax-free cash. Here's all the details.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year with a prize worth over £104,000. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. Worth over £74,000, this luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash cash to spend however you like. Someone is guaranteed to win our biggest prize to date, so make sure that winner could be you. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, good luck, everybody. Coming up, all of those detailed details of all the bombshell emails of Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, more revelations broken just a matter of minutes ago. We will bring that to you, but next.
True unrest, and it's scary. It's scary as a local resident, somebody who's born and bred here.
This is an insane story. It really, my jaw dropped. A Reform councillor in Scotland was reported to the police for this absolutely insane reason. I will tell you everything after the break. This is Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Talk to our favourite space expert, Andy Lound. Good morning, Andy. Because, some people will say, well, why does it matter? But it changes our perspective, doesn't it, of cosmic evolution?
Yes, good morning, Beth. Yes, it does. It's quite an important discovery. And again, it just shows that science constantly moves on. The instrument they've used, Gravity Plus, has taken the light from 4 major telescopes and actually analysed that of a black hole. And at the centre of the black hole, you have the quasar, which is the active nuclei of a black hole. And surrounding that is a ring of dust and gas, the accretion disk. And it's thought that the black holes were obviously feeding on this, the materials falling into the black hole. Now, that was measured at 800 times the mass of our star, the sun. However, when they were looking at it very carefully with the new instruments, better resolution, they found that what's quite exciting is the fact that the radiation which surrounds the black hole and part of this accretion disk is actually blasting a lot of this dust and gas out, away from the region. So the electromagnetic radiation and the various interactions is blasting much of this material away, which means, of course, it's not eating up all that material, so the black hole therefore could be up to 10 times smaller than they actually thought. This is a really important discovery because we're trying to understand why there were such massive black holes in the early universe, and our physics wasn't really fitting in with that. But now, with this new instrument and the new measurements we're doing, we're getting a better handle. It does mean, of course, that a lot of the objects we've seen in the early universe now, and looking at those early quasars, we're having to do recalculations and redo a resetting. But it will help the physics of understanding how the early universe formed.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, this is the most insane story I have seen all week. A Reform UK councillor has been reported to the police after comments made on an STV interview about anti-migrant protests in Falkirk. Have a look.
True unrest, and it's scary. It's scary as a local resident, somebody who was born and bred here. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, do you see why this is? People sometimes think that reform are very much against having people
that just
here.
came out. It just came out. Just
that's unfortunate for you.
Even the agony she has on her face just because she said born and bred. She's clearly conditioned to think that's wrong. There is nothing wrong. There is nothing racist remotely about saying you're born and bred somewhere. I'm born and bred in London, right? Someone complained to the police about that. I'd love to hear what you have to say. The councillor took to social media and confirmed that an anonymous malicious complaint has been submitted regarding the comments made during the interview. It is totally nuts. Well, I am now joined by Reform Councillor for Bromley, Alan Cook. Alan, lovely to have you on my show. Thank you so much for coming. It seems to me that there potentially are political motivations for doing things like this, but there seems to be a lot of attacks on reform in particular. Is it because you're doing so well in the polls, or is it because there's something more sinister going on?
A little bit of both, actually. You know, thank you for having me on the show.
More than welcome.
I better, you know, being a Reform councillor, be careful what I say. I don't want to become the next political prisoner.
You weren't born and bred anywhere, were you? God forbid, Alan.
A little here, a little there, you know. But, you know, I'm very known for being correct politically and not necessarily being politically correct.
Right.
So I'll
like
tread
that.
carefully here. And, but I think there should be an arrest over this, to be honest. And it should be the person who complained should be arrested for wasting police time.
Quite right.
You know, but yeah, we are really, out of the main parties, the only anti-establishment party, and by that I mean we're the only party which is not a global socialist party. So therefore, you know, socialism, Marxism, communism cannot work with freedom of speech. So these are the weapons they use against us: debanking, deplatforming, cancel culture, and attacking us, not our policies, because our policies generally are all created using common sense.
Well, they can't. They what do they say? They go after the man. They can't attack the policy.
Yeah.
But interesting this thing, because this is slightly worrying, and I think our viewers in Scotland will be interested to hear this, because insulting this born and bred phrase could be seen as insulting to asylum seekers by implying their lesser legitimacy, and potentially breach the Public Order Act in 1986 under offences for intentionally causing harassment, alarm or distress. This is insane.
Yeah.
This is totally insane. She could, in some way, actually face some sort of court case over this.
Well, what this highlights is that we need to change the Public Order Act. Quite simple. And, you know, we are getting all our bills ready. So when we do form the next government, we'll hit the ground running and we'll repeal acts and we'll change acts. So we'll get a lot of this rubbish out of the system straight away, because, yeah, you should not be liable for prosecution for saying something like where you're born and bred. You know, I actually can't say that. I wasn't born and bred here because my parents were in the services. So I popped out in an RAF base and because mum was in the Rangers, father was in the Fleet Air Arm. And but I'm still very proud the fact that I was born in a little bit of England in another country. It's still nationalised soil.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm proud, and you don't have to be born here to be proud. You just need to be part of the society.
It's this attack on language, isn't it? It's this attack on anything that might link your identity to being English or British, particularly if you're white. I feel like there's certainly that seems to be a violation if you're a white person who goes, oh, I'm born and bred here. You know, it's this constant feeling of you're discriminating against everyone else by not having all these extra socialist woke words to use to describe things. You've got to walk on eggshells in societies like that.
It's the control of language, the narrative, and the freedom of speech. You know, but we have had some good news this week. Justice Benathan actually overturned the decision for Mr. Koskin.
Yes.
His book burning exercise actually was not that bad after all. So, you know, a little bit of common sense can creep back into the judiciary every now and again. And hopefully that means that we'll have no more people arrested for hurty words as well. Because you know, it was not a violent act, but it's one which was upsetting. And some of the quotes from the Justice are fantastic. You know, it is not an offence to be offensive.
No. I was certainly worried about how that was going, that case, because we could have had blasphemy laws through the back door here had that happened. It should never have had to go that far in the first place, because we all know the rules around this, but certainly worrying times. Alan Cook, thank you so much for joining me on the show tonight. I appreciate you coming in. Well, Police Scotland have said this. We received a complaint and inquiries are ongoing. Right, coming up. It gets so much worse, trust me, it really does. Enough to give you nightmares tonight. Find out what happened there, but next, Prince Andrew told Jeffrey Epstein we'll play some more soon in an email about Virginia Giuffre, proving that he lied in his BBC interview. This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Storm Alice continues to bring heavy thundery rain to eastern parts of Spain, including the Balearics. Some places could see 50 to 100 millimetres of rain in just a few hours, and these totals will continue to build up for a little while yet. Eventually it is going to ease and clear away, and actually elsewhere there's a lot of fine sunny weather across much of southern Europe as we go through Sunday and into the beginning of next week. Always in the sunshine, feeling pretty warm. See you later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. The dry weather continues for most of us through the course of this weekend. There will be some fog around overnight tonight, but as we go through Sunday, the sunshine will break through once again. And high pressure is really dominating the UK's weather through the next few days, centred slap bang across the middle of the UK, so bringing light winds and dry weather for many. Northern Scotland, though, will see a bit of light rain and drizzle through the course of this evening and into the early hours of Sunday morning, but otherwise a mixture of cloud and clear spells. Where the clear skies do persist for any length of time, we'll see temperatures drop down into low single figures perhaps in rural spots, but there'll also be some mist and fog developing. We think most likely in parts of England and Wales, but southern Scotland could also see some fog patches by the end of the night as well. In the south of the UK, it's perhaps more likely to be a mixture of mist and low clouds, so a murky start to the day for many. Some sunshine, though, for West Wales and northern England, although there will be some fog around here, particularly in the Vale of York. Cloudy skies for Northern Ireland and certainly across northern Scotland. Still quite gloomy conditions here. Areas of low cloud and mist around across the hills and around the coast as well, with some bits and pieces of light rain and drizzle perhaps still possible. Through the day, though, I am expecting that cloud in the south and the fog to lift. So, generally, by the afternoon, a brighter story for many of us. Some sunshine for many too. Generally tending to hold on to a bit more in the way of cloud, probably for Northern Ireland, and certainly across northern Scotland, still a bit gloomy here with some bits and pieces of rain. Temperatures, though, in the best of the sunshine, 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, so feeling pleasant for October. More in the way of cloud, generally speaking, across England and Wales by Monday. That cloud potentially thick enough to give the odd spit or spot of light rain or drizzle in the breeze, but most places staying dry. Plenty of sunshine for Scotland and perhaps northern England, but generally through the week ahead we are expecting to see quite a bit of cloud for most of us, and temperatures around the seasonal normal but slightly below in places.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News, of course. I've got your front pages hot off the press. Let's go through them together. The Independent, bring them home now. The hostage countdown, of course, on that massive ceasefire deal. The Daily Express, Reeves eyes 7 billion pensions tax raid. Oh, that's not going to go down well. The Observer, a front page there of Palestine. I believe Palestinian family returns home to Gaza City. The Mirror, rocker fiend stabbed to death in prison. Ex-Lost Profits frontman Ian Watkins ambushed by Khan. The Sun, of course, leading on that bombshell story on Prince Andrew. We're in this together, he told Jeffrey Epstein. OK. The Telegraph, Reeves will tax the rich to fill the black hole. Maybe the far left's message is getting through to Labour. Loads more stories on the front there we'll get into too. The Mail, another, of course, they're saying they've both got exclusives, the Sun and the Mail, apparently. Andrew to Epstein, we are in this together. And finally, the Times, White House anger over UK spy fiasco. And of course, also on the front there, Diane Keaton, who unfortunately, sadly, passed away aged 79 not that long ago. We broke the news. I'd like to start there, actually, because Linda, you've got a lot more knowledge on this area than I have on Diane Keaton.
It's only because when I was a much younger woman, a girl, in fact, before I trained as a journalist, I went to the London College of Fashion just as Annie Hall hit the cinemas. And that was really the kind of iconic image we have of Diane Keaton, is that sort of baggy jacket and baggy skirt. And the hat that, in fact, she's wearing in the Times picture was her hallmark. And I remember going out, nicking my cousin's corduroy blazer, my dad's shirt, adding lace to the cuffs, making myself a dirndl skirt, making a petticoat and putting on the cowboy boots and getting out there in that Annie Hall look.
There you go. Iconic. And I think it's a whole different era, isn't it, now? I think movie stars has changed a lot. I think we've got a whole new way of interacting with them on social media.
You know what? I think movie stars and models, for that matter, have become a lot more homogenised. They've got a very standardised look now.
Yeah.
And she comes from an era where great actresses had an awful lot of individuality, and she was, you know, she was she was an icon for my age group, if you like. We looked up to her tremendously.
Yeah, Peter, any memories?
Oh, the Godfather trilogy.
Yep.
Where she played Kay Adams, who was Michael Corleone's girlfriend. Michael Corleone, of course, famously played by Al Pacino. If you haven't seen that trilogy, please watch them. The second was the one that garnered the awards and the plaudits, and rightly so. But yeah, watch those 3 Godfather movies. They are absolute timeless classics, and she was marvellous in them.
Paul?
I think her performance in The Godfather, though, is sort of underappreciated, because actually her vulnerability in that role, the way she develops over the decades it depicts, and her relationship with her husband in the film. I mean, I have to say I disagree on Godfather 3. It was a terrible film, but 1 and 2 were brilliant, and she should be more remembered for those, I think.
Very versatile actress, wasn't she?
Yeah, well, and then the comedies with Woody Allen, you know, you couldn't get more different.
Well, she starred with Woody Allen in Annie Hall, I think.
That's right.
Well, and Sleeper, which is a very funny film. War and Peace, which is a very funny film. War and Death, is it, or whatever it's called? The pastiche of the
Reds. She was in Reds.
Reds, yeah, very versatile.
Yeah.
I mean, really, an incredible oeuvre and a great loss.
It's a bit like when we lost very, very recently Robert Redford. She's of that ilk, if you like. It's when I heard it, I thought, oh, that's like someone, you know, I've watched all my life has gone. It's a sad moment.
It's always a sad moment, isn't it? I feel like we're losing these icons just weekly as well. It's quite shocking, but I guess that's how it is. I want to stay with the Sunday Times, though, on this next story, because the White House have expressed anger over the UK spy case fiasco. This is not going away. I think the Prime Minister would love for it to go away, but it's really not, is it? And, of course, this is the China spy fiasco that just will not disappear for the beleaguered government. Paul, the White House here, I'm just reading this as I see it here. The White House has warned Sir Keir Starmer that the failure to prosecute the 2 alleged Chinese spies risks undermining the special relationship and could threaten intelligence sharing between Britain and the United States. That's severe implications if they start cutting us off because they can't trust us anymore, isn't it?
This broke this time last week, didn't it?
It did.
Remember,
yeah, we were on air.
We were all on air.
We were all speculating whether it might be the final nail.
And I think all of us identified this was going to be a huge story going forward, which is thus proved. I mean, the questions have to be, is it conspiracy or is it cock-up? You know, is it simply bad administration, not getting the evidence together, you know, the paperwork not being there, or is there something more serious going on? But it goes to the heart of our relationship with China, doesn't it? Which is, are they a friendly trading partner, or are they a threat to our security who are spying on us on a regular basis? And we've got this absolutely sort of Janus-faced approach to China, where on the one hand we're trying to be nice to them because we need their trade. On the other hand, we know full well they are infiltrating our institutions and spying on us.
Well, you can't ride two horses in the same race, that's for sure.
Very well done for trying to cloud the picture here. Right, but the finger points, quite rightly, at 10 Downing Street. The police did the investigation properly. The CPS authorised the charges properly. Then they go to Downing Street for a statement that clearly says China is an enemy upon which the entire case will hang, and your lot, including Jonathan Powell, the unelected snake who's been around Blair and your whole party for as long as I can remember, allegedly won't give that statement, and the whole deck of cards comes tumbling down. It's got your lot's fingerprints all over
it's
it.
official, so it's the civil service.
1 second, Paul.
I think that the issue here, as Peter has raised the name of Jonathan Powell, and that's what I mean by someone trying to ride two horses in the same race, is that Jonathan Powell is our national security advisor. Now, he is involved in so-called sort of economic expansion and amplification for this country. Now, you can dance around on a pinhead from now until kingdom come, and you will never make those dual roles reconcilable. And that's the problem. All along, for decades, and I was in China when all this was going on, when everyone from News Corp, as was, to Foster's Lager, was trying to get joint ventures going in China, it won't work. End of.
This is the problem I've got with it, Paul, and I've actually been saying this for a very, very long time. We have, as a country, and this goes back to the Tories as well. David Cameron, I really hold him massively accountable for what he did to our country, because he opened up the floodgates to all these companies to come in to Britain. It was his master plan, after all. This has been one of the worst foreign policy decisions with him and Barack Obama. Not only did they bring in, of course, Russia under Clinton and Blair, but they also then brought in the Chinese not that long after. Look how well those two have ended up for us, and now we're so embedded in with China. The Prime Minister clearly, and I understand as a realist, you know, my political philosophy is realism. He can't call them the enemy, because if he does, our economies, they're going to go, do you know what? We don't like you any, little Britain. Here's a nice little slap on that, and our economy will completely crash, won't it?
And given we are where we are, that's the question, isn't it? What do you do? Because I mean, I invite GB News viewers to look around their homes right now and identify all the goods and all the things in their homes, from what they're wearing to what they're watching this on to everything else, made in China. So we are enmeshed economically.
Do you think Reeves and Miliband and all the people that have gone over there, cup in hand to China, have made this situation even worse? Why are we going to drum up deals with China?
And why don't we look at the Chinese embassy, which is planned for the old Royal Mint building, which is a legacy building in the heart, you know, of the capital, which is right alongside two major data centres, and all sorts of security issues are involved in there. As Paul was saying earlier, you've got plans of that building with blacked out areas in the basement. Well, what's going to be going on in there?
I'll answer your question, Paul. What do? You look west instead of east. You support Donald Trump in his aim to try and rebuild the whole mechanics of the industry of America. Right. Look there to buy our goods. I know they'll be more expensive, but I bet they'll be better, and we'll have a real special relationship then with our most important and powerful ally.
Yeah, well, listen, I think we just globalised this country to death. We have nothing left, do we? We've just completely sold out to foreign countries all over the country. Anyway, coming up, we've got lots more to show you. We'll have a look at this. It's just, trust me, it's really weird. And a lot of people can't park, I mean, let's face it. Anyway, we'll get stuck into some more... No, I wasn't really you, I promise, Linda. Anyway, we'll get stuck into some more front pages. I'll see you in a second.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
I was very lucky enough to be at the station today to welcome it in, be part of the group welcoming it into the station at, I think, gosh, it's about 1:15 this morning. So I'm back down in London again now. It's been a busy old day. But yeah, I've been on that train previously on the main line. We took it out for a test run a couple of weeks ago, and we were in those wagons under moonlight. So this little engine pulled us along a branch line. And under test, but this incredible replica train, a complete train, genuinely is a direct link with the past and lets us understand a little bit what it was like to have technology like this at the time, and then showcase this phenomenal little machine and this train, these vehicles, how we can solve problems today, actually, and how far we've come, and shows the heritage of Britain's genuinely incredible railway network.
It is a pretty little train, actually, isn't it? And if you say that it can help you solve problems today, in what way? I mean, this, compared with that machine it is next to, it's incredibly primitive. So what can we learn from this little thing?
Well, I think that the same problems extend today as today, right? That we need to move people and things from A to B. And what's so lovely about seeing a machine like this, locomotion number one replica, of course, is that it genuinely shows us how someone thought, I've got a problem. How do I move coal and people from up there to over there? And actually the answer was railways. And so often today, the most efficient way of moving people around still in railways.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Welcome back, everybody. We've just been going through the front pages here, seeing what takes a fancy, and the panel really want to talk about the Andrew and Epstein scandal that just won't go away for Andrew or Fergie, who's also been in the papers recently about this. Of course, day after the published photo of the Duke and Virginia Giuffre, Prince Andrew said that they had no contact with Jeffrey Epstein. Now this leaked email shows that he wanted to get it back in touch with him. It had been back in touch with him, of course. Linda, did he lie in that BBC interview? It certainly looks like it.
Oh, I think when you look at that interview that Emily Maitlis conducted, you asked yourself, is he lying? And that was her skill in that interview, was in holding back and allowing him enough rope to hang himself.
Yeah.
But clearly the lies have gone on and on and on. I've just finished the Andrew Lowney book, and actually it's not just the Epstein scandal, which is enormous. It's how much money he managed to make when he was in his personal fortune out of being a trade envoy for this country. I mean, that's at the taxpayer's expense. He has built a fortune off the back of what? Limited intelligence and a very naive wife.
Yeah, yeah, Peter, this sort of stuff really winds up the British public, because not only could he have used that opportunity to just be honest, perhaps, about his situation, looks like very, very well. I mean, I don't want to get myself into trouble, but it does look like he's lied, or at least allegedly, the Sun are saying he's lied. You know, I think, is it just time to call curtains on Prince Andrew? Just say, can you just go away.
I'm glad that his mother, Her Majesty the late Queen Elizabeth II, is not here to see this drip, drip, drip further shaming of her once much-loved son. I can only imagine what it would have done to her heart if she'd have seen all this. He's clearly a man of zero credibility. Another person who's no longer with us, Virginia Giuffre, who took her life at the tender age of 41, I think, can be quite rightly classified, I believe, as a victim of the activities of Andrew, Epstein, Maxwell and all those other revolting people.
Yeah, it's a disgrace, isn't it, Paul? And, you know, we're hearing some commentators saying he better not show up around Christmas time. There'll be hell to pay by the British public. I mean, figuratively speaking, of course. This is the sort of stuff that really upsets the British public when it comes to the royal family.
I mean, it's good old-fashioned journalism that has revealed this, isn't it? Both Emily and Maitlis's brilliant interview and now the Sun journalist getting this smoking gun email. But what, of course, is going to happen next is there will be more. There won't just be one email, will there? They will now drip these out over the next few days, for sure.
Of course, I just have to say, for legal reasons, Andrew does deny ever meeting Virginia Giuffre.
So he does, yes, that's right. But can I just finish the point I was going to make, which is I think it only ends up in one way, which is that he's going to have to leave the country. Never mind not being invited for Christmas lunch. He's going to have to be out of the country.
Gaza. Send him to Gaza, right?
That's a good job with Tony Blair.
Well, he loves a bit of golf, doesn't he, right? So send him to Gaza. Give him a few quid, because they've got lovely beaches there. He could set up one of them crazy golf things, you know, like with a windmill and all of that. Fergie can run a cafe, doing teas and coffees.
He's rumoured.
Send him out there, we'll never see him again. Job done.
He's actually rumoured to have bought a kind of mini palace in the Gulf off some of the proceeds of his work. And I think that there is an argument, and I've heard it made, that actually you don't want him pushed out of the country in exile. You do want him here because you simply don't know what combustible stuff he can get up to in the future.
Oh, I don't even want to imagine. The things I'd like to say, I just cannot say. Fortunately, they're just not kosher for this time of night. Anyway, I want to show you a clip that caught my eye this week. We've been teasing it. Have a little look.
Another try.
Give it up on the attempts at parking there. There you go. I've seen so many videos like that. Every time I watch them, just crack me up. I don't know what it is. Anyway, loads more news to bring you tonight. I mean, those front pages are really hot, aren't they? We're going to be digging into all of them. Do you think Rachel Reeves is going to be taxing the rich? Has she caved in to the far left? Has she caved into the pressure from the Greens? Is this party now going to start veering leftwards in a bid to stave off reform? Have they just given up trying to appease people on the right of the country? I don't know. I would love to hear your views. I'll be digging into them and so much more in the next part of our show. But first, here's the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. The dry weather continues for most of us through the course of this weekend. There will be some fog around overnight tonight, but as we go through Sunday, the sunshine will break through once again. And high pressure is really dominating the UK's weather through the next few days, centred slap bang across the middle of the UK, so bringing light winds and dry weather for many. Northern Scotland, though, will see a bit of light rain and drizzle through the course of this evening and into the early hours of Sunday morning. But otherwise, a mixture of cloud and clear spells. Where the clear skies do persist for any length of time, we'll see temperatures drop down into low single figures, perhaps in rural spots. But there'll also be some mist and fog developing. We think most likely in parts of England and Wales, but southern Scotland could also see some fog patches by the end of the night as well. In the south of the UK, it's perhaps more likely to be a mixture of mist and low clouds, so a murky start to the day for many. Some sunshine, though, for West Wales and northern England, although there will be some fog around here, particularly in the Vale of York. Cloudy skies for Northern Ireland and certainly across northern Scotland. Still quite gloomy conditions here. Areas of low cloud and mist around across the hills and around the coast as well, with some bits and pieces of light rain and drizzle perhaps still possible. Through the day, though, I am expecting that cloud in the south and the fog to lift. So, generally, by the afternoon, a brighter story for many of us. Some sunshine for many too. Generally tending to hold on to a bit more in the way of cloud, probably for Northern Ireland, and certainly across northern Scotland, still a bit gloomy here with some bits and pieces of rain. Temperatures, though, in the best of the sunshine, 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, so feeling pleasant for October. More in the way of cloud, generally speaking, across England and Wales by Monday. That cloud potentially thick enough to give the odd spit or spot of light rain or drizzle in the breeze, but most places staying dry. Plenty of sunshine for Scotland and perhaps northern England. But generally through the week ahead, we are expecting to see quite a bit of cloud for most of us, and temperatures around the seasonal normal, but slightly below in places.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, the front pages are, well, they're hot as anything, aren't they? Look, Andrew and Epstein, they're back at us again. We'll play again soon, they said, and we're in this together, Andrew told Epstein. That's after he told us he'd cut contact. It looks like he may well have lied in that infamous BBC interview. Trust me, we'll be digging into all of that. Is Rachel Reeves going to tax the rich? That seems to be her latest ploy. You just can't make it up, can you? They don't know what they're doing. Will she also be taxing pensioners? That's another big front page we'll get to there. Loads more coming on The Late Show. We'll see you in moments.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good evening, it's 11 o'clock. I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is Alex Armstrong Tonight's Late Edition.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
Oh, I think you might be sweating tomorrow. We're in this together. Damning new emails reveal Prince Andrew lied in that infamous BBC interview, that clip we just showed, about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And
we will not raise tax on working people. No tax rises for income tax, for national insurance, for VAT. We will not raise income tax.
oh, that's the biggest joke of the century.